What is the worst criticism against the horror genre that you've heard? Some critics generalize the horror genre as being exploitative, misogynistic, and reveling in the character's misery. But what if I told you that there's an upcoming Indonesian horror movie that literally requires all the characters to give off good vibes to the audience? Meet Joko Anwar's latest horror comedy, Ghost in the Cell. After its world premiere at the prestigious Berlinale Film Festival last February to rave reviews, it is finally coming home to Indonesia and will be released here on the 16th of April. I was lucky to catch its early screening a couple of days ago with the director, cast, and crew in attendance. Before I share what I thought of the movie, I'll give you a brief synopsis of what it's about, which is pretty unique. The movie focuses on the life of inmates in a prison complex called Labuhan Angsana, who have to deal with oppression from prison guards, violence between inmate groups, and unequal treatment between criminals due to the state's corrupt judicial system. But things are about to get worse after they see the arrival of a new inmate, a meek and timid journalist who is accused of murder. Since the arrival of the new inmate, mysterious and gruesome killings of inmates started to occur. They quickly conclude that the killings are perpetrated by a non-human entity and that it targets people who have a negative aura. Now, the prison complex filled with angry and frustrated criminals and thugs will see its inmates racing to become the most zen person to avoid getting massacred by the evil entity. Now, from the synopsis alone, one could guess that the movie will straddle the fine line between comedy and horror, and that is exactly what the movie delivers. It is grotesque on the level that Joko Anwar's films have never been, and then it is hilarious the next minute, to the point that I was in a constant and continuous dopamine rush. Not only do these scenes give the audience some levity from all of the intensity of the minute before, but they also prove that horror and comedy really are unlikely siblings, and in the hands of a very skilled director along with a very game cast and crew, those genres can mesh and become essentially a single cell. See what I did there? Anyway, on top of it being entertaining, the movie also offers many sharp jabs at our government and its corrupt practices in our political and judicial system, from imprisoning people who are critical of corruption, fostering illegal practices and transactions in prison, and unequal treatment between small-time criminals and conglomerate criminals. There's also an observant jab at our society in general about how the majority group tends to feel entitled to regulate the lives of others, and so on. Those cutting dialogue and remarks are peppered throughout the movie, in between the action, horror, and slapstick comedy, making it, to me personally, almost impossible to be bored or be distracted by anything else. The movie is filled with actors who have been regulars in Joko Anwar's past films, and it's refreshing to see those actors who usually play intense roles in Joko Anwar's horror and thriller movies now being given the chance to cut loose and become as silly as they can. And they all balance the intensity and the comedy effortlessly. But a special shout out has to be made to the actor Aming, who plays the deranged Toke, an inmate with psychotic and animalistic tendencies. He successfully dispelled his usual comedic tendencies to give us a truly unnerving and despicable character. And on a selfish and a narcissistic note, I'm happy to see one of the characters named Dimas, played by Andy Arfian, play a pivotal role in the movie. All throughout the movie, I just want to shout, "Protect Dimas at all costs, you guys!" But probably that's just me. Anyway, if you enjoy Joko Anwar's horror, thriller, and action movies, I think you're going to enjoy this one. This movie feels like the culmination of all of the work that he has been doing. Because if you remember, before being known for horror movies, he started out in comedy, namely Janji Joni or Johnny's Promise. And this is him showing off the mastery and the skills that he has amassed at his disposal. And it is such a joy to watch. So the question is, will you see Ghost in the Cell when it plays in theaters across the country on the 16th of April? What movies do you think effortlessly blend the grotesque and the hilarious? Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'm Dimas, until next time.
Coba kalau suka teriak sekencang-kencangnya.